Originally, I wanted to make a podcast, and I wanted to interview people like, musicians like Chester and Brad and Daryl and people around the Phil Collins sphere. I sent a couple emails out at the beginning of this year to a couple producers, engineers, friends, journalists, musicians, not that many actually, maybe 4 or 5 emails out. And I only heard back from 2 people. One said no, and one person said maybe, and then I never heard from them again. It was really hard to get guests for a podcast. And I thought, if I want to do a weekly podcast, I've got to find 52 relevant to Phil Collins or Genesis guests a year. And if I'm sending a bunch of emails and only half of them are getting back to me, 0 to 10% are saying yes, then I'm going to have a hard time finding guests. And so I got super discouraged, and I just kind of left the idea of the Phil Collins podcast because I thought there would be an audience for it. The podcast format just had to kind of sit on the shelf until I could figure something out. Fun fact, you can actually listen to this YouTube channel as a podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Occasionally I take the episodes. They're kind of hard to, listen to without seeing what's on the screen, but for anyone who likes to consume media that way, you can listen to this channel, you can subscribe, just saying. Then I started watching some other YouTube channels with my kids and realizing people will actually just sit there and listen to someone talk about a subject that they're hugely passionate about, like Genesis or like Phil Collins.
Like Phil Collins?
Okay, maybe I'll try that. And then I realized there's a lot that can be done with a channel like this. You could make top 10 lists. You could do album reviews. You could interview people. You could do ridiculously crazy things. You could talk about the merch that's out there and things that have happened in the past. And then I started to realize, wow, there's actually a lot of ways that we could celebrate Genesis and Phil Collins. We could talk about the lyrics. We could talk about the songs. We could talk about the albums. We could talk about the production. We could talk about the band members. All of a sudden I realized there is infinite possibilities if I start a YouTube channel as opposed to starting a podcast. And so that's what happened. My name is Scott Orr. I'm a musician. I run a label. I also run a podcast for record labels, and that keeps me pretty busy, but I had some free time on my hands, and I'm also kind of uncomfortably obsessed with Phil Collins, and I needed an outlet for that. Wait till I show you some of the artwork I've commissioned. It gets crazier. And that's why we have everything Phil Collins. I've been so stoked with the response. I think the response rate has been the coolest part of this whole project, has been posting something, even just a simple song review, and having so many people comment their opinions, or talking about polarizing topics like, did Phil Collins ruin Genesis? Talking about gated reverb or Phil Collins' best soundtrack songs. These are things that people are actually somewhat passionate about, which is awesome because I'm passionate about it. So the channel's been around for just under 7 months, just shy of 500 subscribers. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're trying to get to that evasive 1,000 mark. And if you can just recommend some of your friends or share it in some groups to try to get to at least 500, I think would be super cool. We're very close to that, and I'll do a giveaway when we get to the 500 mark. We've done about 58 videos. We have 30,000 views, which is pretty cool. I'm very, very excited about that. I love seeing Phil Collins fans come out of the woodwork and passionate Genesis fans. Here's what I would like to do in the future, and you can let me know in the comments what you would like to see. I'm really curious what type of content I can do that would be fun for you. I'd like to interview some record store owners, some guys who look for Genesis records and Phil Collins records, who sell Genesis and Phil Collins records, and who may have even run a record store back in the day. I want to interview some more people in the Phil Collins orbit. So we'd love to have Brad Cole on the show. I'd love to talk to Daryl. I'd love to talk to maybe Hugh Padgham or Nick Davis or some of those people. So who knows? We'll see. We got some kind of crazy fun stuff too, like looking at some weird Phil Collins stuff. There's some fun things for the new year I'm excited to dive into. And if you're a fan of the channel, just subscribing is a huge deal. Commenting on videos is a huge deal. Liking videos. I'm thinking maybe in the next year we might launch a Patreon. That could be super cool. We'll see. We have some like original Phil Collins artwork that is been made into t-shirts and hoodies, and you can grab one of those, and onesies. If you're a baby watching this, thank you for watching. And if you have your parents' credit card, you can order those, and that supports the channel. There's so much more to come, and I just want to thank you for watching along. Happy holidays if you're watching this in real time, but thank you so much for being a subscriber and for watching and engaging with these videos. I have no plans on stopping. I have no plans on tempering my obsession with Phil and with the band and with Brand X and with Anthony Phillips and with the Mechanics and whoever is in this orbit. And so there's so much more to come. Thank you so much for watching.